Hi, everybody. Welcome to the presentation today on advancing scientific discovery with FCS Express for Bio-Rad datasets. My name is Sean Burke. I'm the Director of Research Marketing and the Business Development at the Novo Software, and I'm pleased to be guiding you through the presentation today. So as a little bit of an agenda, what we're going to cover today is first an introduction to FCS Express for working with Bio-Rad data sets. We're going to give everybody a little bit of an overview of the collaboration and the tools within FCS Express to kind of help get you started. We're going to build up a little bit of an analysis. And in that analysis, we're also going to use these really cool new Starbright dyes from Bio-Rad. They're acquired on the ZE5 instrument. So you really get a feel for this kind of, from reagent to acquisition to final result in FCS Express. We're then going to come back around and talk about kind of some of the mid-level analysis using FCS Express layouts as templates to achieve higher throughput analysis to get results more quickly. And we're going to do so using a 17 color analysis based around OMIP 36. We're going to do some batch processing of that data and show you some of the kind of higher level tools in the software. And then we'll come back in the end and talk about utilizing high dimensional data reduction tools in FCS Express to really kind of bring that scientific discovery and exploration to the next level. We know that, when you have these Bio-Rad instruments, you have the ability to collect a lot of parameters and do some really cool science, based off of all these different channels and markers that you can collect. And also pairing that with these new Starbright dyes from Bio-Rad really allows you to collect these really big data sets. But distilling that information can be difficult, right? So tools like Tisney and UMAP and FlowSom, these are all things that are available in FCS Express. They're quite straightforward and easy to use. You don't have to use R and programming and scripts, right? We can actually work directly in the software with that. So we're going to guide you through a little bit of that when we come back around at the end. So to kind of get started here, one of the new things that's been out for a little bit of a while now, but essentially Bio-Rad and De Novo Software have been collaborating to really enhance the analytical workflow and provide a complete data acquisition to report experience for ZE5 users. And what that means is that Bio-Rad and De Novo Software are now getting together to offer a no charge 1 year FCS Express license with every new ZE5 purchase. So if you've recently purchased a ZE5, you probably have that available to you. If you weren't familiar with that, just reach out to the Bio-Rad rep or De Novo software team and we can help you out. But the whole idea there is when you acquire data on Everest software, when you bring that into FCS Express, everything is going to look the same. It's scaled the same way. You have access to the volumetric counts that they're doing in the ZE5 in Everest software. So what we're trying to do here is really just give a great analytical workflow to help advance your scientific discovery. Now, you might be wondering, all right, why de novo software and FCS Express and Bio-Rad, right? There's a lot of other software packages out there. Well, de novo software has been doing this for over 20 years. We've been developing flow data analysis solutions for a long time. We have a lot of experience. We have a global support and applications team that's going to give you unrivaled support for any of your analysis needs. We have thousands of customers representing all fields of research from academic, biopharma, clinical, CROs. They're all using FCS Express as their tool of choice. And when it comes to getting results, that's where FCS Express really excels, especially when you pair it up with the ZE5. FCS Express is fully integrated for analysis, statistics, graphing, and reporting. It means you don't have to jump back and forth to Prism and Excel and Photoshop and PowerPoint to kind of get a result. You can do it all in the software. And as I mentioned, we have full support for Bio-Rad instruments. That way, when you move from Everest software and you come into FCS Express, you have the seamless transition and you can focus on getting the results that you need and advancing that scientific discovery. Now, really importantly, FCS Express has a Microsoft Office inspired interface, which makes learning FCS Express very easy. We even have integrated spreadsheets in the software. So if you're used to working with Excel, well, you can work with Excel with your data in FCS Express as you move a gate, things in that Excel like spreadsheet update in real time. And then we're also going to provide you with direct high resolution exports to really prevent you from having to use multiple software tools. So again, the kind of big difference is when you're using other software packages, you're generally just getting basic plots and statistics, and you're having to take that data and copy and paste it, and go out to Prism, copy and paste, and go out to Excel. You're having to use Photoshop and put little white text boxes over axis labels to put together a presentation ready figure. Or even, when you're using these higher dimensional data reduction tools, a lot of times you have to plug into R and have somebody who knows how to write scripts. In FCS Express, we do all that in the software, right? So you feed us the data from the Bio-Rad ZE5 or whatever instrument. We can do the high dimensional data reduction. We can do Excel-like spreadsheets in the software. We can create bar charts, pie charts, things that are considered a final result. So that way you can move on with your scientific analysis. Now, there's a lot of key features for Bio-Rad customers we're going to cover today. I really love these integrated spreadsheets. You can see here as we move this gate around on this data from the ZE5, spreadsheets and bar charts update in real time. We have these beautiful presentation ready figures for really whatever sort of graphic you might need for publication. We're going to come in and talk about the Microsoft Office like interface. Again, we've automatically optimized for the ZE5. So whether it's an older kind of Yeti based instrument or a ZE5 instrument, really they're both the same thing. That data is going to be scaled the same exact way in FCS Express. But we also have this whole suite of high dimensional data reduction tools that we're going to come in and give you an overview on today as well. So let's put all that aside and let's jump in and start talking about some data and talking about FCS Express. I'm going to launch up FCS Express here, and you can see that it almost looks like Microsoft PowerPoint or Microsoft Word has opened up, right? We have this kind of blank page in what we call a layout in the software, and we work on this tab and ribbon system, just like Microsoft PowerPoint does. So if you've ever used PowerPoint, you probably know where to start in FCS Express, right? In PowerPoint, you'd probably start some sort of presentation by inserting a text box, a picture, something like that. You put in some information in that text box, you move it, you resize it, you put it on the page however it is you want. If you wanted to put in something like a shape or an arrow, we can do all that sort of thing in FCS Express as well. But when it comes to inserting data, right, that's not something that PowerPoint will do, but it's something that we need in our flow cytometry software. So what we do is we insert something like a density plot, right? Our data from the Bio-Rad ZE5 comes in. We can choose something like side scatter versus forward scatter, and you can see that we're working with that data. We can move this plot around, we can resize it, and we can start building up an analysis based off of these plots, right? So the other thing that's kind of important here, we have unlimited undo and redo, right? So if you made some mistakes or you just kind of want to get back to where you started, right, undo and redo is going to work for everything that you're working with in the software. So the data set that we're working with here is a star bright dye 12 color panel, right? I won't go into too many details about this, but what you can see is when I opened up FCS Express, all of the plots that we want to use, all of the gates that we want to use, everything is here and ready for us to analyze, right? So I'm going to kind of show you how you get here. But one of the important points in FCS Express is you can see there, as I move this live dead gate around you based off of our DAPI stain, all of our statistics, everything in all of the plots, this information is all updating in real time, right? So you're going to get kind of unrivaled speed in FCS Express for performing analysis with your data sets. And you can work in FCS Express across many pages. You can build up this analysis however it is that you want, and very kind of quickly and easily get to the information that you need. Now you might be wondering, all right, well, how do I get started with this, right? You show me how to insert a plot, and I've got that kind of same plot here that I'd inserted before. Well, again, it's very easy. If we want to create a gate, there's a gating tab, just like Microsoft PowerPoint, right? So if I want to get going here and maybe grab some of our lymphocytes and monocytes, I can do that. I'll call this gate a lymphs gate, and you can see that a gate appears. There's a statistic associated with this gate, and again, as we move that around, that statistic updates. But to build up this analysis, again, some of the basics of analysis here, if I drag and drop that gate, it opens up a new plot. That plot has the gate applied, right? And then I can come in here and start looking for whatever parameters it is I want to work with. So if I want to choose CD8 and I want to choose maybe CD4 in this axis, and I think one of the kind of important things here, there's a lot of parameters that you can pick for, but you can see if we want to search for a parameter in the list, we can very easily kind of come in there and do that. Make sure we get our just our lymphocytes here so things look pretty nice, and then we can come in and create another gate on that particular population. So really all we're doing here is just kind of drilling down into populations. We're taking that, we're dragging and dropping that gate out to something else. We can come in here and then look at, CD 127 versus maybe CD 25, where we'd be identifying something like our Tregs on our CD4s here, and we can create that gate. And building up the analysis is really just that simple in FCS Express. And let me bring this over. We'll call it Treg, give it a little bit of a different gating color here, and then we have that analysis starting to be done, right? So again, just think about what you would do in PowerPoint when you use FCS Express. And it's really important because, working with the software, it shouldn't be difficult, right? We want to see you kind of getting to results and making those scientific discoveries and advancing them with FCS Express. Now, one thing I can point out, you can see here that all of our axis scalings working with this data from the Bio-Rad ZE5, it's the same exact thing as we've been using in Everest software. The other really nice thing that FCS Express can do, and it's linked up with the ZE5 and even some other instruments, is that we have something up here called the concentration calculator. So if you didn't know this, the ZE5 can actually do absolute counts. And if we tell FCS Express to use a volume keyword in the data for measuring these counts, when we come in and we right click on a plot and get statistics, something like our gate statistics, and there's a lot here because we have a lot of different things going on in some other pages. But if I enable the concentration calculator here, you can see here that we have a column for concentration, right? And in our gated populations, we're now getting absolute counts directly from that data set without having to do anything else, right? We're just deriving that information from the data, and it's a kind of an important and very useful tool to kind of help you facilitate getting results and advancing your discoveries a lot more quickly. And we get that pairing by using FCS Express with Bio-Rad instruments. Now, when we want to go beyond this, right, we have a little bit of an analysis done here. We've gone over some of the basics, right? We want to take that information and kind of move it to the next level. We want to start getting some additional statistics and results out of that. What we can do is we can use templates in FCS Express. And what I'm going to do here is open up a template that we created based off of OMIP 36. So it wasn't the authors of OMIP 36 who put together this layout. What you can see is we can put together a nice kind of presentation style analysis here for this data, kind of distilling the information from OMIP 36. And then on this page, we have a lot of statistics, but everything here is filled out. It says error, right? I come over here, I look, there's no data in here, right? It says error. So what we do in FCS Express is we can use these templates. And if we want to grab some data, like here, I've got a few FCS files. We'll grab an unstimulated, we'll grab a stimulated, a few of these. I'm going to drag them into what I call our data list over here. And what's going to happen is this template is going to populate with the information from this data set. So if I come back over here and I look at my experiment statistics summaries, now all of those statistics are immediately filled out. Right? If I go here and I look around my other pages, my phenotyping, my CD4 maturation, my CD8 maturation, all of these pages are filled out with the data that I put in here, right? And this is really a great tool to kind of accelerate getting results, accelerate, making your discoveries. And what will happen is all of these statistics and plots are all linked up to this data on the front page, right? So if I move this lymphocytes gate, you're going to see in those tables here, right below, you can see the statistics are updating in real time for that report. If I come in and I want to load up this next, CD49 stimulated sample or CD3 CD49 simulated sample, FCS Express is going to load up that data. All the plots are going to update in the software. All of the statistic tables are going to update in the software. And now we're working with the next data file in this data set. So it really can be that quick and easy to kind of move from whatever data that you've acquired on the ZE5 to some sort of final result, right? Of course, you probably want to come in here and make sure all of your gates are created and moved to the correct place, something like this. But getting that final result becomes very easy. Okay. Now, right now, we just showed you kind of statistics on that front page, right? But we know that final results are a lot more than just statistics. There are things like bar plots, there are things like pie charts, right? Kind of consolidated reports for the information across many different phenotypes. Well, we can accomplish that in FCS Express. These are plots that are created in the software. They're using these spreadsheets that we have down here. And what you'll find is that as we move a gate, bar plots, spreadsheets, things like that, standard deviations, they all update in real time. So as you come in and you need to hone in on, a gated population, see what's going on there, you don't have to move back and forth between Excel and Prism and other tools to get that. You can get that directly in the software. And if, your colleague or your PI comes back and says, move that gate 1 pixel, let's see what happens. You don't have to worry about going out to 5 different places to do that. You can make the change and get the result in real time. And you can see, right, a whole page devoted to this sort of thing. Now you might be wondering, all right, well, how do these spreadsheets work, right? How do you get these in the software? Well, the way that we accomplish it is we come up here to the Insert tab, we insert a spreadsheet, and lo and behold, it's kind of like Microsoft Excel is starting to appear in FCS Express. And it works the same way. If we type in, some sort of formula reference, we derive a value, right? And you can format these spreadsheets. You can, make whatever font and borders and sorting and conditional formatting. You can use formulas that Excel has, right? It really all works the same exact way. But we don't want to see you typing in values, right? How do these things actually link up with bar charts, you might ask, right? So if you have a value like lymphocytes, right, drag it and drop it into the spreadsheet, and now it updates within the spreadsheet itself, right? Maybe I want to grab something from this gate. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I'll drag and drop the gate in there. From the lymphocytes, we'll choose number of events. And now we have that. And if we want to do some sort of custom calculation, right, we can do that. And now our custom calculation and everything that we're doing in the software is updating in real time. The other kind of important thing with spreadsheets, we know you don't work with just one data file at a time, right? This is a case of just working with one kind of statistic. If you have multiple data files and called the data list over here, you can grab all of these and you can drag them into the spreadsheet and you can say, give me some sort of information, a statistic that I want to compare between the data files. And what FCS Express is going to do, it's going to ask you, what do you want from these? Maybe the file name, and let's throw in the number of events and percent of parent of the lymphocytes. What FCS Express is going to do is populate the spreadsheet with the file name, number of events, percent of parent across all of the data files that you have, and then you're very quickly and easily comparing results. And then if you want to get to something like a bar chart, very easy. Grab that spreadsheet, draw a bar chart, pick and choose what you want to show in that bar chart. And really, that's how we're going to come in and enable that sort of kind of movement to final results to kind of help accelerate that discovery. Okay. Now, I'm going to get this information out of here because the other thing that we can do is when you have many data files, one of the very useful tools is being able to use our batch processing. So if we wanted to come up here and say, export all this information to PowerPoint, export it out to Excel, we can come up, we can say, run the batch process. And what FCS Express is doing here is it's taking the data for the first data file and it's exporting that to PowerPoint. And then it's going to take that information. It's going to move to the next data file. It's going to export that to PowerPoint. And it's going to do that over and over and over again until it reaches the end of your data list. And whether that be 2 files or 200 or 2000, really the most I've ever seen in the data list at one time was something like 25,000 data files from a very high content experiment. It's going to collate all of that information directly to the export that you need. It's also going to put all that information into Excel. So if you need to have your Excel exports ready to go, you're going to have all of that kind of off and running, and it's going to work very kind of quickly and efficiently. So really what we want to see folks doing is moving not just in that basic analysis, which I showed you right in the beginning with the Starbright dyes, that's great and all, and it works, but we want to see you moving to this kind of higher throughput analysis. And you can see FCS Express has taken that information. We're now opening up Excel. Here's all of our reportables out to Excel for this particular experiment for all of our data files. PowerPoint opened up here on the second page, you can see that we have everything that we did in FCS Express. Don't forget, we're in PowerPoint now, out to PowerPoint, and they're also high resolution, super quality, what we call vector graphics. Each plot is its own particular graphic that you can move, you can resize, and you're off and running and ready for publication. All right. So again, what we talked about there is kind of moving into the kind of midstream analysis where we're working with templates and we're kind of collating the information to everywhere that we need very quickly and easily. But I want to take this one step further because we know in kind of scientific discovery, working with kind of standard panels and standard templates is not always what you want to do. Sometimes you really want to get in and kind of explore this data, right? And that's where tools like Tisney and UMAP and Visney and FlowSom, they come into play. Now you can see here, I'm working in this kind of same layout, but I have a new page at the end that's called high dimensional data reduction, right? And what we've done here is we set up a number of plots. You can see it says Tisney X and Tisney Y, so I did a little bit ahead of time. But if we want to utilize any of the high dimensional data reduction tools in FCS Express, they're located up here in the Tools tab and Transformations. And you can see here, I've created a Tisney, right? And we do this not by plugging in R and writing code and things like that. We select Tisney from our transformation options. And what we've done is we've just kind of come in here and we've said for this Tisney, run it just on the lymphocytes. We've come in and we've selected a few different parameters that we want to cluster. We've left everything else kind of the default settings here. But what I really want to point out is I'm going to click Calculate Tisney. And when I click Calculate Tisney, FCS Express is now calculating the Tisney. And it's doing this not just on one data file. We've merged together the three different data files, our unstimulated, our PMA simulation, our CD4, CD3, CD49, CD3 simulation. And FCS Express is calculating this Tisney transformation across all of this. And when it gets done, it's going to populate the charts. And you can see how quickly that happened, right? This is a pretty computationally intensive algorithm, and it populated very quick and efficiently in FCS Express. So we've come in, we've populated our Tisney X and Tisney Y. We have a number of different kind of Tisney charts that are already set up here, where we're comparing kind of one group of samples to another group of samples on the right. And the way that this works is with this merge data file, we've set up gates on a plot to identify what should be in that merge data file. So on the left, we have our sample one gate, but if I expand this to kind of include events from sample two, you could see that Tisney plot or that group of plots on the bottom left updated. Right on the right, if I want to come in and adjust our sample two gate, maybe just use one sample versus another sample, all of our Tisney X and Y plots there are updating in real time. So once we calculate that Tisney, it becomes very easy to visualize and display here. I mean, we can see in sample one, our unstimulated control, there's really not too much going on in the center of these plots. In our stimulated samples, right, we have some kind of clusters and populations and continents starting to light up. And we can even take, any of our gates that we might have created and apply them to the Tisney plot. So, let me kind of come in here, show you another way to apply a gate. If we wanted to take that CD3 population and apply it to the Tisney plot, and then start kind of moving around in our different phenotypes and seeing, all right, well, where are our CD3 negatives or positives? It becomes very quick and efficient to do that within FCS Express. Okay. Now, the other thing that we can do in these transformations is I showed you Tisney, but there's a lot of other tools that people are using these days. And the way that we enable these in FCS Express is through the use of what are called pipelines here. So if I create a pipeline step in our kind of high dimensional data reduction transformations here, what I can do is I can add additional kind of algorithms here. If I wanted to work with Flow AI, if I wanted to work with FlowSum, if I wanted to do kind of particular steps like downsample, take less events from the data set, right? I can put in something like a downsampling step. And then if I wanted to come in and I wanted to do a UMAP on this data, right? I can come in, I can pick and choose the parameters, I can set up a UMAP. And what these pipelines are going to do is if I take this pipeline and I drag it and drop it over here to this chart, that interval downsampling to 5,000 events, that calculation of UMAP is going to occur. And now when I look at this plot, you can see I have UMAP 1, I have UMAP 2, and just like that, I went from a Tisney transformation to a UMAP transformation, right? And of course, with these plots, you generally want to format these a little bit. And if I want to come in and show something like a legend, so we know what the heat is based off of, right? I can come in here and start looking at, all right, well, where's my CD45 RAs, right? I can kind of see a hot population in the middle there. So by using the transformation tools in FCS Express and using things um, like Tisney and UMAP and these pipelines, we can really achieve some really great ways to kind of work with and get to the kind of information that we need for these data sets. And now, again, we have lots and lots of different kind of pipeline steps here. If we wanted to kind of come in and do some quality control, do things like Flow AI, it's very simple. You can just add these in there and you can get off and running with that. All right. So what we really want to kind of accomplish here again is just advancing that scientific discovery, moving from basic analysis, creating plots, creating gates, into kind of maybe an intermediate analysis where you're doing batch processing and you're kind of crunching through lots of data sets. And then at any time, you can move that data over to this kind of exploration mode where we're working with high dimensional data reduction tools, transformations, data cleanups, all of that kind of stuff that's available out there in the world. And again, you saw here, there was no integration with R needed. There was no scripting. There was no coding, right? Everything is done through this very easy point and click sort of interface where you select parameters, you choose your variables or hypervariables, and then you get off and running with that data. So with that, I kind of want to recap a little bit today as we run up against the end of the time. In a little bit of a summary, what we're trying to do in FCS Express is get results, right? We want to streamline that analysis to reporting. We want to streamline getting from acquisition to results, and we do that by reusing templates, right? You create those templates like you saw with OMIP 36. We can use the integrated spreadsheets and charting tools in FCS Express with the live updating, which is a very powerful um, kind of way to work with your data. We have the built-in formatting and publication quality graphics. Really, everything about those charts that you see today can be changed and formatted even before you get out the PowerPoint. And that's really going to also reduce copy and paste to other tools like Excel and Prism. We have the ease of use of Microsoft Office, right? Everybody knows how to use PowerPoint. So you don't have to sit down with a big manual of software and figure out how to learn it. We also have extensive online tutorials and training resources, some of them especially geared to working with Bio-Rad data sets. And importantly, we also have a really dedicated and knowledgeable support team, right? So if you write us an email at support@denovosoftware.com, we'll always get back to you in less than 24 hours, generally more like an hour or two. And we're happy to meet with you and kind of answer the questions. We also have this really great focus on quality. We have continuous enhancements of FCS Express. We've had a lot of kind of feature requests coming from folks that are using Bio-Rad instruments. We've incorporated them already, so things like that concentration calculator you saw, we're putting those in to meet the needs of end users. And we're also very responsive to user feedback for adding and modifying features. So as you're kind of going through and you're working with your data and you're starting to, kind of advance and explore your scientific discovery, don't hesitate to reach out to our team to get more features in there that you need. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you for having us out here today to speak to you a little bit about FCS Express and working with these Bio-Rad data sets. I wanted to say a big thank you to the team at Bio-Rad for helping facilitate the presentation today and for everybody that was able to come out and have this discussion with us. So with that, we'll stop. We'll take some time for questions and we'll take it from there. So thanks again.